The Weekly starts now.
With me today are Mikaela Sharp, Manager of Trends and Innovation, and Jenni Lantz, Senior Manager of Design Lens, both a part of the New Home Trends Institute, a design and research subsidiary of John Burns Real Estate Consulting. Welcome.
Thank you.
Our discussion involves a recent survey you all conducted on homeowners' needs for privacy. I have to admit, this topic was rather a surprising one to me compared to the usual surveys of what homeowners are interested in when it comes to their homes. How did the subject of privacy come to your attention?
Well, with running Design Lens, we really, and things getting denser, we really saw more issues with privacy, honestly, with homes getting closer together and having to deal with shared use easements and how windows lined up. And so we really wanted to see, okay, as things are getting denser, how are consumers responding to that? Could we be doing a better job? What do they really want? As we're planning these denser communities.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it too just came from our own experience and our experience with friends and family. We'd go to somebody's house that moved into a denser neighborhood, and you'd be in the kitchen and you would see the neighbor in their kitchen, the windows just right lined up next to each other. So we felt like if we're thinking about it, there's got to be other homeowners thinking about it as well. And then we also did a preliminary survey back earlier at the beginning of the pandemic to cast a really wide net and see what do we think is worth digging into a little bit deeper? What do we see popping up that is a little bit unexpected? And we asked about your privacy from your neighbors versus the sense of community and natural light versus privacy. And we found a little bit more leaning towards privacy than we really expected, given all the conversations about connection and natural light. So we thought it was worth looking in a little deeper.
So who were your respondents? Do those that have privacy concerns vary by age or life stage?
Yeah, so there is definitely variation by life stage. We surveyed homeowners who are earning at least $50,000 per year. So we wanted to proxy something that could be similar to a new home shopper. And there was definitely variation by age, especially on the internal side. So within your home, young families definitely a lot more concerned about privacy from other members of the household and guests than you would see on the mature single or couple side.
That makes sense. How about size of their homes? Did that make a difference?
Yeah, it definitely did. I think what was surprising, though, is that it didn't as much as we thought. So you'd think size of the home would be everything, and it mattered, but it wasn't everything. So on the internal side, it was really that life stage that mattered so much more than the home size. Home size didn't really play a huge role in whether or not you felt like you needed more interior privacy or not. It was that life stage. And then on the exterior side, we asked about, are you concerned about your neighbors being able to see inside of your window or your yard? And on the very small side of the threshold, we found that they were more concerned if you're under 2,000 square feet. But once we got over that 2,000 square foot threshold, increasing the home size from there didn't really make people less concerned. We still had a similar amount of homeowners that were at least occasionally worrying about people being able to see in.
So let's drill down a little farther into that subject in terms of what they were meaning about privacy. What are the major concerns that they have indoors and outdoors?
Yeah, I can talk. I mean, I think it really, again, I'm going to say this one more time, but I feel like I keep saying it over and over. The life stage thing definitely plays a huge role. I think for the young families, the interior privacy was huge. So I think that might be one of their top concerns. And then if I was speaking overall and leaving the life stage aside, I would say the outdoors, specifically the windows, was a huge concern. And that was not only privacy from your neighbors, which we were expecting going into this, that people were going to worry about their neighbors seeing in, but also just privacy to the street. So if you had a window facing the street, that was also going to be a concern as well.
And then Denise, internally, we found one of the key spaces that people worried about privacy the most was the main bedroom, the primary bedroom, which isn't quite surprising. But we really found that that was the space that people wanted to make sure was separate from the secondary bedrooms or had some buffer from the main living areas, depending on if it was a single or multi-story home.
So how did open plans, for example, come into the picture here? Did anyone mention that? Did that make a difference?
Yeah, that did come up. I think the reason we kept putting it in is because with our conversations with people we know, I mean, I've had so many conversations with people that move into new homes, and I've never heard somebody say there's been no issue with how open their floor plan is. There's always been some sort of, oh, it's just, there's nowhere to hide my stuff, or my old house, it had a little bit more separation, and now my furniture doesn't match because all of a sudden it's all just in this one giant room. So we thought there's got to be something here, and we wanted to look into it. And we asked, between having privacy and space to hide mess and between having that openness and airiness, where do you fall on that scale of what you want? And it does lean more towards the open side, the airy side, but it's not all the way to the extreme, which is where we feel like we've swung as an industry. It's a little bit more balanced.
Well, and that space they're looking for, whether it's space in the bedrooms or whether it's, sometimes it's that alternate gathering space. I mean, as more of us have been home longer last year, we're running into, if you just have that open great room, you don't have privacy from each other when you need to work or do Zoom calls, and so having that open space, which they love for entertaining, but then also having, say, that loft or, bonus room gives them a little bit more privacy between.
I'm glad you brought that up, because really I think that especially now and for at least the not too distant future, with homeowners spending more time at home, they may focus on privacy more than ever. So what I'd really like to hear from you all is what your ideas are about what builders and designers can do in new homes to address these issues.
We talk about a few in the report, but one of the things that came up a lot was that entry statement of wanting a little bit more. And Mikaela kind of tested this, we were kind of surprised. We asked how much people wanted to associate with their neighbors, from hanging out on your front porch and, doing stuff, to waving and saying hello and going inside, to not speaking to them. And people really came out that they liked their neighbors, but they wanted to just wave and go inside. And so one of the things that came from that was a desire for privacy at your entry, whether that was package delivery or separation from your neighbors. So providing that separation from the street. So sometimes it's setting the entry back a little bit, whether that's a porch or kind of tucking it to the side of the house, or I've seen in kind of more urban product, they'll do stairs up to the front entry. So it gives just that little bit of kind of private space between and a transition between the public and private, and storage for packages. And then internally, breaking up the great room. I've seen some really cool double-sided fireplaces. So they'll do, a kind of a bonus room or a family room that's a little more of a cozy space. And then they'll have the big, vast volume on the other side. So kind of using spaces that keep things open because people like that connectivity, but helping to divide things.
How about,
and then I think also sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say also bathrooms, I think, is one that is underrated. We found a lot of concerns about bathrooms, which we weren't necessarily thinking was going to be top of mind. But on the powder room side, it was really, is it out of sight? Am I not going to be gathered here with my friends and then be able to see directly into the powder room? And then also some sort of element of soundproofing was also a concern. They felt like, I don't want to be too close and hear what's going on in there. So keeping those out of the way. And then connected to the primary bedroom, there was a lot of concerns about, if I'm awake and I'm trying to get ready and my partner is still sleeping, that is a major pain point for me. The light's on, it's loud in there. So putting some sort of door that it's going to not just be a barn door that blocks sight but not sound, but completely seal off that area.
Yeah, that's where I think there's a lot that can be changed in new homes. And when you think about the old Jack and Jill bath, I mean, that is really, I never knew how that might work. I mean, if you've got people with two doors, one on each side of this room, and somebody may go in and then lock the other door and then not unlock it, then you have no access to it anyway. It just always befuddled me that was a good idea. But I think this is a great concept, and it's great for builders to hear about. Is there some way that they can get more information from you all about this survey?
Sure. They can reach out to us. So either emailing myself or Mikaela, or go to newhometrendsinstitute.com, and that can give a little bit more insight, and they can actually download the privacy report.
Super. Okay. I will pass that along. Thank you both so much for this information. It's really interesting and really, I think, something that people should pay attention to.
No, thank you for including us.
Definitely.
My pleasure. Take care.
Thanks.
Thank you.